once again, I seem to just otherwise melt into my background. Like how? Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. See, I feel like weirdly I'm in too good of a mood almost to film this. Yesterday, I had a meltdown. Quite like, I think it's like the first like emotional breakdown I've had in ages. Like in absolutely ages. So that's positive. But yesterday I had kind of like a breakdown about the fact that I live alone. And to an extent, that really sucks. So today I'm going to talk to you about living alone and loneliness. So, I'm way too good of a mood to film this. I was really like depressed yesterday and I woke up today and I was like, I'm in a great mood, what the fuck is wrong with me? So to preface this video, I'll explain what happened yesterday. Basically, I had a horrible day. I've been having a couple like really weird days. Like, you know when you feel like you're like floating in a void and you don't know what's really going, you just feel really lost. Like I'd been having that for a few days. And then yesterday, all of my feelings sort of came to fruition. I'm getting really good at like monitoring my feelings and like knowing when I'm feeling certain things. But this time I just couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And I just felt like, I just didn't know what was wrong. It was that kind of feeling. And then yesterday, I was like, I just burst into tears. I argue a lot with myself in order to figure out how I'm feeling. One half of me will put forward arguments and say things like, oh, you feel like this? And then the other half will like argue back, and that's always how I get to a conclusion of how I'm feeling and why I'm feeling things. And then, I don't know, one side of me just said something that made the other side of me cry. I made myself cry. And I think it is a lot to do with the fact that like, I live alone. So I just wanted to talk about that. It's kind of weird though. I've had these sort of feelings before. I had them last year. Last year though, I was in a like really bad place, but I never realised it, which is a really odd thing. Like you'd think you'd know. This time last year, literally during if you watch just that part of the vlog, like I realised, and only in retrospect, that I was actually really lonely. Like during first term of first years, I had like one good friend, and then a couple of my relationships were like deteriorating. Like I hated first years, I really did. And it's also to do with the fact that my halls were so unsociable. I did basically live alone, but I think the two big things between them is like, I'd come to the flat all the time because I hated being there. So it's like, at least I was then alone in my own space, because I think if you've watched those vlogs, like you'll know my uni room wasn't very big. So now at least I am alone, but I'm alone in this flat, which is huge. This flat is a really big flat, especially for one person. Like I know it's not as bad. The thing is, because I recognise those feelings from last year, I'm able to like sort of notice them a lot earlier, and that's what I did yesterday. I kind of had the epiphany when I started to cry, like, oh my god, I feel exactly the same way I did last year. Exactly the same time as well, so maybe it's a seasonal thing, but I noticed it, and then I was like, okay, I can do something about it. So I went to see Ophelia. She is like the one person who always understands any of this kind of stuff that you can just talk to her, and she just gets it. Like some people you talk to and they just don't understand. Like some people are sociable in a way that they just don't, like they don't get it. But Ophelia is always one of those people who you can always talk to, and then like anything you say, she will listen and she will help you through. One of these people that I'm very grateful for. It's sort of this line of when like, because don't get me wrong, I love being alone. I really, really, really enjoy being alone. I really enjoy my own company. Like I really don't mind being on my own, but it's sort of like the border between like being alone and being like lonely is like whether the loneliness is imposed, like whose choice it is that you are alone, whether it is your choice or like I don't want to say other people's choice, but it's in like, you don't feel like it's you anymore getting to choose to be alone. It's just sort of happening to you, if that makes sense. Also, just a couple other things in terms of context. Like this is not my flat. I live alone, but this is not my flat. This is my parents' flat, which is why I live here. London is expensive, so I mean, we had a place for me to live, so it's a lot more easy. It's just like easy to live here. I actually have only one other friend who lives alone in this city, and like her space is like a lot like more compact than mine, so I can feel like I almost would prefer that if I lived actually alone, like properly. I would prefer like that, because then it's like entirely my space. But this is like, my dad is here 3 days a week, but he's here like, he'll come really late in the evening and he leaves really early in the mornings. So well, there is another person here sometimes, like it doesn't really, especially during the day, it just doesn't feel like that, and I spend quite a lot of time here. If you watch my Instagram story, like you might notice that I'm in the library like a lot, and I feel like then like I'm alone but then surrounded by other people, even if I don't know them. I don't know, I've just been doing that more because it's like this idea of just when your hours like slip away from you in a way that's like they just disappear, like you have no idea where the day's gone. I hate that feeling, I hate it so much. And I also know that like if I don't feel like I'm making the most of London, I get this weird feeling, which is why I know I didn't notice it while I was filming like my vlog, because I would go out, my vlog season 1, if I would go out and I would like film bits of London, even if I was by myself, I had a camera. And having a camera never makes you feel alone. It's really weird, even though I know right now I am alone, like a few hundred people will see this. And then it's like, you don't properly feel alone. And it's just interesting because like one thing Ophelia said was like how she kind of gets it in terms of like when she hasn't seen her flatmates for a bit, and it's even just like saying like little tiny things to them in terms of like, oh, I tidied this, I did this. And it sort of made me realise I don't have anybody to say that to, but that's what I would say to my vlog. That's the kind of thing, like, it's like having this other person to say just a mundane thing to like, oh look, I tidied this, I organised this, which I know it sounds stupid, but it's like, well, notice how often you do that, because if you start paying attention to it, you realise you do it all the time. And living alone, I don't have anybody to do that with, but I did with a vlog. That's why I think this time round, like I'm sort of noticing it more is because I'm not vlogging, and like my vlog was such a distraction, like an immense distraction, which is why only in retrospect did I realise, oh, my life was falling apart in this way, my emotions were falling apart in this way, but I didn't notice. Because I don't think you guys understand how much time a weekly vlog takes up. An immense amount of time, hence why for second years I stopped doing it. And I think it's also set on after reading week for the first time. I've actually had this feeling. It hasn't been here for a really long time, which is really weird. I'm enjoying it. Personal progress, personal growth. But it's because during reading week, like there are a lot of people in my house. My brother was there, his girlfriend was there, my parents were both there, I was there, Chris was with me as well. So like at like breakfast at one point, there were like 6 of us around a table. And going from like a house with 6 people in it constantly to then just you is like, it's a big sort of jump, and emotionally it's not great and I don't like it. It's also just, I think, connected with boredom. Like when you live alone, you get so fucking bored. Like it's just nice to have somebody like to talk to in like a non-committal way, just that they are there, they live there as well, instead of like having to organise a thing with friends. And that's something I realise now at the moment I'm struggling with, is a lot of my friends obviously do live with people, so they don't like, you have an automatic social life as it is with that, and then like I don't, I have to make such a big effort to see my friends than they sort of do to feel that same level of like socialisation. And obviously it's not their fault, but then it's always just, I always get a little bit more like, if they say like no to something or have to like postpone something for like a week, and I'm like, I feel like because I am also a very low maintenance friend, the only person I'm high maintenance with is Chris, when I'm like, hi, but like that's a boyfriend, but then it's with your friends, you're like, hey, and because I'm not high maintenance with my friends ever, I can't stand high maintenance friends, I feel like it takes even the tiniest bit then for me to feel like I'm being needy, or for me to feel like I'm being vulnerable. Like I know it sounds a bit irrational, but for me that like the difference is like really, like I notice it a lot, and I really hate it, and then I feel immediately like I put myself in a vulnerable position and I'm being pathetic, so then it's almost like I don't reach out to my friends, so it's like it's very toxic and bad. But just again, like I boarded as well, and like I do have a big family, like there's 5 of us, so it's like from having always being constantly around people to just being alone isn't very nice. Like it's just not, it's not for me. Which is why I know that when I'm older, like I want like a big family and I want like loads of dogs and stuff like that. That's one thing I maintain. I maintain that if I had a dog, I wouldn't feel like this at all, because then like you're responsible for another like life. Even if it's not a human, it's still a life. And also it's something to love and cuddle. And that's another thing I think I do really well with physical affection, like hugs. So I feel like if I don't get that, I really like, my body knows. My body's like, does nobody love us? And also with that, I am in a long distance relationship, like Chris and I are at different unis, so it's like someone to just want a hug. Thing is, I really wouldn't say that I'm lonely, like I'm not a lonely person. I enjoy my own company and I'm completely fine being alone. It's just that like the length of time, because like there's a point where you're like, make it stop. And I know I do enjoy living alone to an extent. I think I would prefer not to, but I would under no fucking circumstances want to live in a house with 7 other people like some of my friends do. That is an actual nightmare. Because I went to stay with one of them and we spent an hour tidying up their kitchen at one point because it was just so it was really gross because nobody takes responsibility for any of their own like shit. So it's like, it's so, you've seen the vlog, you know I'm like I am a fucking neat freak. I can only live like maybe 1 or 2 people and they have to be obsessively tidy and clean, because if that's no, I couldn't live with anyone else. Even when my dad's here, like he'll like make the kitchen like so messy and I'm just like they're like dying on the inside, like why? So it's just, I know I couldn't handle that either, so I can't live with people and I can't live alone, so we have a situation. I can't stand mess. At least here I'm in control and it's all my responsibility. That's something I do think though, like everyone at some point, if you get the chance, should live alone. You have to learn to do everything yourself. You have to learn to rely on only you. You're the only one responsible for keeping you alive. You get complete independence and autonomy over yourself. Like it's a really interesting experience to just have a go at. It doesn't suit me, but I know I can do it, if that makes sense. And now I'm over it and I want to live with people. So those, I think, are just my musings on being alone and loneliness. Today I just did a bit of like, I took a mental health day today. I was like, I'm not doing anything. And weirdly, I can also measure how I'm feeling by the amount of time I spent in my bed. Like, by that even mean like working in my bed, reading if I stop doing that, I know I'm in a better place mentally. But this week just has not been that. And I've had this in other weeks, but then there was 1 month where I had at the weekend, I would either have someone stay or I was staying with someone. So like that weekend, like those few weeks, I feel kind of weird during the week, but then I'd like have a reset button over the weekend because I was seeing people. So I feel like this time it's almost had the adverse effect because I've gone home and then I've kind of come back and I've been like, oh. I think it is also a seasonal thing. Definitely, it has to be. Like with everything getting darker and colder, it's just everything's more miserable and like it's almost like you need more like cozy time with people, and then like suddenly that's completely lacking to me and I'm like, okay, I need a dog. This is what it comes down to. I just want a dog. I keep telling myself like all my life problems would be fixed if I had a dog. So those are my thoughts. To summarise, I don't think living alone is for me. I can do it. It's an experience I would recommend if you get the chance because it teaches you a lot about yourself. But I know myself very well. I'm over it. I'd love to live with people. Even though I know I won't. Like, I feel like the only person I'll actually live with is Chris. Like, I don't want to live with. I don't think I could handle that. Like, I think also the message I want you to take from this is you have to sort of pay attention to your own mental health. Make sure that you sort of learn, like, know yourself and value spending time alone with yourself, because then you do know yourself better. And I think that's important. Also, self-love goes a long way. Today, I was just like, right, I'm gonna, do bits I enjoy in terms of work, organise, and then yoga, and I felt a lot better. Also, weirdly, Stoicism cheered me up. It's a school of philosophy, and I was reading about it and I'm like, I love Seneca. I just love it. It's great, and it cheered me up, which is why I woke up in such a good fucking mood. I'm rambling now, so I will tidy up this video here. Leave me any experiences you've had with like how you feel like living alone, spending time on your own, like if you've ever felt lonely, things you've done with that. But to reiterate, I don't think I am lonely. Like, I just need to make more of an effort with my friends, but I do enjoy being alone. It's just living alone is like another step to that, which I'm like, I'm not really for it. I'm way better than I was this time last year, and I know that, and with a vlog I can measure that and I can see that. So it's like sort of catching it before it like helps laying the foundations for the relationships that then got destroyed in the new year. So leave me thoughts you have down below, like, subscribe and all the jazz, and I will see you guys very soon. And get the last vlog of season 2 up. Like, it's a fresh as fucking vlog. Like, why is it not up? I have to call it like the long lost vlog. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I will see you guys very soon. Unsociables. The way I'm feeling is I can't win.